5 gift subs. Rustman again. You've been super generous tonight, man. Thank you. CSGO. We're saving this for after because this is the longer video. Okay, we'll do the CSGO Wild one first. Someone said that this was a bigger scam than CSGO Lotto, which was the T. Martin Syndicate one, which quite literally changed the way you're supposed to do like sponsored integrations or whatever on the internet. Because they didn't reveal they were owners, so they changed like the actual guidelines, I think, as a result of the CSGO Lotto case. So I can't imagine CSGO Wild being bigger. But we'll check it out. Who knows?
I'm Jesus, and in this video, we're going to look at the story of CSGO Wild, the biggest scam in the history of CSGO. Now,
huge claim. Oh.
Before we get into the story itself, there's something I want to say. So, when you run a business, you can generally get an edge on your competition by doing stuff unethically. You can make a bit more money, invest it a bit more in growing your market share, and the further you push it, the more of an edge you get, right up until the point where you get caught. And this is something that's good to keep in mind when we look at the story of CSGO Wild. Now, I say it's the biggest fraud in CSGO history, but that is actually quite hard to quantify, and there has been a few massive frauds, but this is definitely one of the biggest. And unlike
which one? Hold on, before we continue, which one was Phantom Lords? So CSGO Lotto was, I think, it's going to be hard to beat because it actually had an impact on laws going forward. What was Phantom Lords? Thanks, resub, Mike. CSGO Shuffle? I don't remember that one. CSGO Lounge? People seem to not remember between CSGO Lounge or CSGO Shuffle. I couldn't tell you. The main thing I remember from Phantom Lord is he used to play some like actual boner jams in his League of Legends streams, and then he licked his dog's asshole on stream for 20 bucks or something. And then he got banned for like fraud or some shit. He's a resub JMod. Every time I bring that up, it seems no one remembers it. Do we not have any OG Twitch viewers in here? There's a stream where Phantom Lord picked up his dog and licked its asshole because someone gave him money to do it. The clip's still on YouTube. Obviously can't pull it up on stream. But yeah, that was big. That like predates LSF, I'm pretty sure. That was like before live stream fails. It's a prime industry. I'm gonna give sub Cole. I mean, he didn't lick it like he was eating an ice cream cone or anything. He just stuck his tongue in his dog's ass and then he went, ew, yucky, poop. But it was still disgusting.
What are these other scams? This one involves the biggest esports organization in the world. And believe me, when you read these news articles about FaZe accidentally admitting to owning...
The dog ass was fake. Yeah, he CGI'd his dog's asshole. Imagine. He played us all.
On this website, you're only hearing half the story, the better half of the story. In fact, the other half is such a disgrace that it's gonna make FaZe look kind of good. And this is a story I want to tell in this video because all these years on, it still matters, and it's going to keep on mattering to the future of CSGO. So, without any further delays, let's start this story at the beginning, with an esports organisation that just wanted to pay for a CSGO team.
Okay.
Small loan of $1 million.
So,
Thanks, Risa
in
Mayonnaise.
mid-2015, an esports organisation called FaZe was looking to expand its horizons. Initially, they'd started out as a Call of Duty organisation, but they'd expanded a lot since then. They were known for having a very strong emphasis on their social media presence. That's always been a priority for their organisation, but buying a competitive CSGO team was also on the agenda. But the problem is, they didn't have the money. So, to compensate for that, they decided to tap in to a lucrative and growing market, and that would be gambling sites that use CSGO skins. Now, these are
Phantom
just
Lord.
like a gambling site, using CSGO skins as a currency, and because CSGO skins can be converted straight into cash, for all intents and purposes, these sites are the same as any other gambling site. Well, with one exception. They were operating in a completely unregulated, Wild West style environment where there was no rules and no
Big
oversight.
resub King
And
Killer.
as a result, a lot of dodgy shit was going on behind the scenes. So, naturally, the morally upstanding gentlemen at FaZe turned to this industry in order to fund their CSGO team, and they launched a website called CSGOWILD in August 2015. Now, this was your standard gambling website, there was nothing that remarkable about it, and FaZe leveraged their standing on social media to launch an advertising blitz.
Oh, wow.
An advertising blitz that brought huge amounts of traffic to the site. Although, there were some skeptics, so if we
He's a
look at
prime
this
log.
video here by FaZe Adapt, well, if we go to the comments, there were some people suggesting that maybe his reactions weren't 100% legit. Now, I can't prove FaZe was rigging these advertisements, but what I can prove is that they weren't properly disclosing that these were ads. There's nothing in the description acknowledging that. And this was pretty much normal for how FaZe
Yep,
advertised
that was
this
the
site.
Wild West.
Dodgy rolls and no disclosure it was an ad. And did I mention that CSGO Wild allowed minors to gamble on it, and it was also available in regions where online gambling is illegal? Yeah, it did both those things. Now, FaZe were not the only people doing this. They weren't even close to being the only people doing this. This was stock standard for skin gambling sites at the time. And like a lot of other
I'm super
skin
curious. Has any, this is to chat, have any of you ever actually, like, won off of one of these skin gambling sites? I've never heard of anyone actually coming up positive from these, like, ever. But I'm also not super into that scene or anything. Okay, so it's like split down the middle. Some yeses, some nos. Okay. Alright. Just curious. I was just wondering if it was going to be like overwhelmingly no's or something.
gambling sites as well, FaZe didn't disclose their ownership. They completely denied it, even going so far as to harass
resub
people
quit.
who alleged they owned it. Instead, they pretended that some guy called Gagey owned it, although occasionally they had trouble keeping the story straight. Occasionally they'd mix up Gagey's name with FaZe Reigns. Yeah, I wonder what's going on there. Unfortunately for FaZe though, when Phantom Lord, a disgraced gambling conman, had his Skype logs leaked, they revealed the truth very clearly.
He points to the syndicate site that we now know very much about, CSGO Lotto, and he also says CSGO Wild by the FaZe guys. He says, I'm talking to both, looking into what they're doing and if it's a threat or not.
CSGO Wild by the FaZe guys. Well, fancy that. Now, the
No,
best thing about
that's a
this log
coincidence,
is
I
that
bet.
Phantom Lord states that he's talking to them. It's not hearsay, it's not something he's overheard, it's not a rumor. He's directly talking to the FaZe guys over CSGO Wild. This is what I call slam
There's a
dunk
prime step.
evidence. Now, despite all this, FaZe continued to deny, and it looked like they were going to get away with it. The internet has a short memory, and it seemed like FaZe's ownership of this site was
Nice
going
use
to
of
be
essential.
largely forgotten. Or at least it was, right up until April 11, 2020, when FaZe Banks decided that what the world really needed to know is that FaZe funded its CSGO team by offering gambling services to kids.
My motivation for doing it actually was at the time we weren't making enough money to buy a CSGO team. All in, the venture was going to cost us like $1 million, and we definitely did not have anything close to that. So my brain, like we got to finesse it. We got to figure out how to make the money to buy this team now, because in the next 6 months, year, this team's gonna be worth like $4 or $5 million, and we're not gonna be able to get into this game, which in our heads we need to get in this game. So we create this website, and through our rake and all this shit, we were making like $200,000 a day. And we set it up in Antigua. We set it up in Antigua. I had a house in Antigua for like
Where's
that?
for like Antigua in the Caribbean.
Where?
It's an
It's
island.
one of
in-
those like islands where they.
The best.
It's an island in the Caribbean where
What?
where gambling, where running a gambling website is completely legal if you have the permits and stuff to do it. So we flew there. We flew there private, sat down with the guy who runs the country, basically paid him like $100,000, and he gave us the license, and we had this whole estate. Yeah, we were out there and ran this website for a few months, and then the whatever, it was all regulated and shut down. And we were the only ones who were doing it legitimate, so we shut our shit down, and there's still people who are doing it, making crazy money.
Thanks for letting us know about the Antigua part there, Banks, and
That's fucking wild. The amount of money that casinos, even just gaming casinos, make is crazy to me. That is $200K a day off skin gambling? That blows my fucking mind. Thanks, Resub Deluxe. Ugh. Exploitation pays. Yeah, I mean, gambling addiction's a very real thing. That's true. Imagine what EA makes off of FIFA. Oh, it's disgusting. That is disgusting amounts of money that EA is making off of off FIFA. You see XQC say he lost 1.8 mil in a month on gambling. Yeah. Yeah, it did. He treats it like it's like play money, which is crazy. I mean, he does have like legitimate fuck you money, so he absolutely has the luxury to have a legitimate addiction, I guess. But goddamn, to speak about 1.8 million in loss like that is like, Jesus. That's fucking crazy. Thanks for you said Deathclaw.
That's how we know your site was CSGO Wild, because CSGO Wild was based in Antigua.
All I've been able to
Thanks,
really
Resub Josie.
find is right down at the bottom where it talks about, use of our services is at your own risk, blah, blah, blah. And then underneath, just above that, actually, thought this was quite funny. Yeah, we don't do refunds. Don't do refunds. By playing on this website, you agree that you are always playing at your own risk. Meanwhile, we're producing these very dubious videos of us doing fake reactions and constantly winning. It's your own risk. It's your own risk. It's not our risk.
Thanks for James Harden.
It's your own risk. Anyway, law and jurisdiction. These terms and conditions will be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of the island of
There's a
Antigua.
tier 1 chaos.
And any dispute... Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, so I think we can conclude it was their site.
There's
Now,
Jacob.
I also have to take issue with this whole we were the only ones running it legitly thing.
The Prime
No,
Medi.
you weren't. You were letting kids gamble on your site. I don't care what the license you bribed the government of Antigua to give you says, that's not legit. And FaZe knows that, too, which is why they immediately decided to try and change the story a little bit.
Hey everybody, sorry for the long thread. I think if I put it in a video, it'd probably be easier for you guys to understand. Just got off a long call with FaZe Rain, and I wanted to explain my side of things.
He's a bit
Why I
hydrated.
reported on what FaZe Bank said, because he came out publicly, admitted to owning the website, said a lot of other things alongside that, so I hope you guys can understand
James.
why I would report that as truth. Because, after 4 years, after all the surrounding rumors and suspicions, Banks comes out and admits that he owns the site, was running it, and a lot of other things. I've now talked to FaZe Rain, who refutes all of that and pretty much says that Banks heavily misworded what he had said and doesn't know why he actually said that stuff. And the worst part about this is after talking to Rain, obviously sounding very sincere, and I cannot fully prove what Banks said. But I hope you guys understand why, if Banks out of nowhere said he owned and ran the site, that I would report that. That's what I would do.
FaZe Batman was awesome, though.
I talked to Rain. And
That
he says
comic
none
was
of that
pretty
is true,
hard.
and that was misworded. And I'm
We don't need Batman,
choosing
we need gamers.
off what, a gut to believe him.
Well, look, Jake, I'll put it this way. You were reporting on a detailed story recounting FaZe running a gambling site, told by one of the co-owners of FaZe, who was directly involved with running the gambling site, which lined up perfectly with all the publicly available information about that gambling site. And against that, we've got the word of FaZe Rain, who claims that Banks just misworded things somehow. Although, I do like how Rain says he's not sure why Banks would say any of this, because I
Maybe some
kind of
gurgle.
agree with Rain on that point. I'm not sure why Banks will come out and say they funded their CSGO team with underage gambling either. It sounds really, really stupid to me, and now the story is all over the media. But it doesn't end here, because
I somehow
FaZe
missed all of
got their
that.
money. They got their CSGO team, they got a group of tier 1 players who played like a tier 2 team for a year and
Alright, well, this video is 2 years old. Do they still have that team? Let's see. Let's take a peek at the Wikipedia. Looks like it. Are they any good? Because I know NA in CSGO is kind of weak right now. Let's see where we're at. Oh! Well, they're kind of popping off. Yeah, wait, these guys, wait, they're good. Why do I keep hearing that NA's a joke in the CSGO scene? They have a chance to win their first major. Oh. God damn, why do people keep saying NA's trash right now? Oh, because they didn't buy an NA team. Oh, what team did they buy? They bought an EU team. Oh, shit. Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. It literally says Europe on the side. I didn't read the side. I just went straight down to the achievements. Didn't notice. Wow. Okay. Hey, well, I guess good for them, I guess. The gambling site really paid off. Thanks to the resub Ali and the Prime Skate and resub Echo and Dank. The bits boom.
Until Carrigan came along, and that's where they exit this tale. Instead, we've got a new protagonist, and we're going to discuss his story in part 2.
Resub Rins.
Now,
Resub
once
Bio.
FaZe acquired their CSGO team, there was a real change in how CSGO Wild was run. The FaZe crew weren't really involved too much anymore. Gagey just outright disappears. This is his Steam profile today, by the way, definitely a real person. And instead, management of Wild fell to someone else. A character
Ash and the
who
resub
I'm going to
Bong.
refer to as Dracula. Now, many of you know who I'm referring to here and probably see what my reference is, but I'm not going to use his real name, although it's easy to find. I'm just going to call him Dracula. Now, Dracula seems to have been involved with CSGO Wild from the very beginning. So he owned a site called kickback.com, and CSGO Wild seemed to be using his website's bots. So as you can see in this ad, you can see it's using a kickback.com bot. But after FaZe got the CSGO team, he seems to have taken over entirely. I'm not sure whether the equity changed hands, but for all intents and purposes,
Who's
this
Dracula
was now
supposed to be?
Dracula's
Bro, I have no
site.
idea.
And he started recruiting other YouTubers and streamers to advertise it. Now, notably, McSkillet started advertising for them, and so did Phantom Lord. And that may come as a shock to some of you, because Phantom Lord is famous for having his own site, CSGO Shuffle, and it might sound a bit odd
there we go.
that he
We
was
got the answer I asked
advertising
earlier.
for CSGO Wild, but I can actually explain what was happening here, or at least I've got a very good theory on it. So, basically,
Thanks, Resub Coco.
Phantom Lord had 2 business partners in CSGO Shuffle, and they were meant to do a 3-way split of the profits, but Phantom wanted to keep the money for himself, and he didn't pay his business partners what they were owed. He controlled the money, but he didn't pay them. He delayed, he made excuses, he didn't give these guys their fair share. And of course, his business partners weren't too happy about this. They started...
Damn. Do you know what happened to McSkillet? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. McSkillet's the guy who committed suicide by driving his supercar the wrong way down the interstate and then killing someone in the process as well, right? Yeah, thought so. Thanks, Resub. Nice Mall? Yep, fucking horrible.
started applying a lot of pressure on
Thanks,
it.
Reese, some
And
sourdough.
it was at this point Phantom Lord switched to advertising for CSGO Wild. Now, I can't read Phantom Lord's mind here. I know for a fact that he wasn't paying his business partners properly, but
Well, he killed
I
the mother
can't read
and her
his
child.
mind on why he switched. But
Yeah,
I'm
that's so
suspicious.
fucked.
It may have been to avoid having to pay what he owed to his business partners. Basically, because he was advertising for Wild rather than Shuffle, CSGO Shuffle's revenue went down, and therefore he didn't have to pay these guys as much revenue, and he's making
Thanks, Prime
this
Space.
extra money on the side from advertising for CSGO Wild. So, basically, it was motivated by pure greed. What a nice guy, ripping off his fans and his friends. Great bloke, great bloke. But anyway, CSGO Wild continued on until about mid-2016, when Valve was forced
Resub
to
cool.
send out cease and desist to all skins gambling websites following a number of high-profile scandals, one of those being Phantom Lord. And CSGO Wild
5 subs again, Russ.
initially
Jesus,
was
man,
shut
thank you.
down. Shut down very quickly, actually. People didn't really have time to withdraw.
They really had a very
Thanks, Resub Killer.
disrespectful farewell at the end. They kind of just took the money, shut up shop, didn't really give people a particularly long amount of time to withdraw their skins, and then linked to what's the name of that site, Sam? Where
I cry every time or
they
something.
cry every time. That was it.
Thanks, Prime Chaz and Pork Bun.
You know, for people who may have lost some skins. So I thought that was a little bit disrespectful.
Now, That shutdown lasted a whole 3 months
The
before
resub
CSGO
stellar.
Wild, apparently under a new owner, attempted a comeback as a real money betting site licensed in Malta. A completely legit site, by the way.
Oh,
But
nice. Let's
it
go.
wasn't a financial success. It didn't last
Aw.
long, and seemingly, CSGO Wild was dead. And this brings us to the final act of our story.
Exit Prime Ultra Space.
There is no keeping Dracula in his coffin, because in late 2017, he repurchased ownership of CSGO Wild. Now, this is something there's very little evidence of left, and you're going to find out why soon. A lot of it has just been wiped, although you can see that the Twitter account was active in doing giveaways around that time, and Dracula relaunched the site and launched an advertising
Are CSGO
blitz
skins still
involving
like a
large
profitable
number of
industry,
YouTubers.
like trading?
Now, I don't know how successful this was,
Thanks to Reset
but I
Tyson.
imagine it went pretty well.
Yeah,
but
very
quickly,
overwhelmingly yes.
he ran into a
Goddamn.
problem. You see, there was a bug on CSGO Wild that allowed third parties to view the Steam IDs of Steam accounts involved with the website, and Monarch, the owner of CSGO Empire, got his people to have a look. And it turned out that there was actually a ton of like level 2 bot accounts doing $100 coin flip bets against actual people using the site. And
Thanks to Resub
by the
Ghost
way,
and the bits boom.
these bots happen to have a win rate of about 80%. Or in other words, the entire site was rigged. Dracula has set up a bunch of bot accounts to bet against real bettors and set things up so the bots would win the majority of flips. The entire thing was a massive, massive scam. Now, as I said, a lot of the evidence from around this time has been purged. There's not much left I can
Thank
show
you, Sir
about it,
Bob.
but what Monarch exposed was an enormous case of fraud, and a lot of people would have been scammed if he hadn't stepped in. Now, Dracula initially attempted a very, very innovative defense. He claimed he'd been hacked. And keep in mind, by the way, his site had only been running for a week or so at this point, and that the hackers, for some reason, decided they weren't going to steal any skins, they were just going to gamble instead. Now, unsurprisingly,
Hey.
people didn't
Hey,
buy this excuse.
hackers can be
and
addicts too,
CSGO
man.
Wild died as a result. The YouTubers who'd been sponsored by it turned around and denounced the site.
Thank you,
And
Sir Bandy.
Dracula fucked off back to the cave, and to the best of my knowledge, he's currently out of business. But there's a reason this story still matters. At the start of the video, I talked about how you can get an edge in business by breaking the rules. We've seen FaZe do that by running a gambling site to break into CSGO early. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's probably not as bad as it
Thank you,
sounds.
Sir
A
Loki.
lot of people were running gambling sites back then, and FaZe used the money they had to get into CSGO. The money went back into the game, and then they got out. So, look, the cover-up is really
Yeah, I guess
the
it could have
biggest
been
part of the
worse.
story here. But what Dracula did is far worse. He was wholesale scamming his customers to line his own pockets. That's a much bigger deal, and it only came unstuck because he got caught. And I draw attention to this because CSGO gambling has not died. It's actually growing again. Now, these days, many big sites are licensed, so they're blocking access in jurisdictions where online gambling is illegal. They're doing age verification checks. That's good. That's really good. It's a massive improvement over the old days. But if you're willing to break those rules, you can gain an edge in the gambling industry. Your
He's a
business
prime
will be cheaper to
joester.
run, it'll be more profitable, and you'll have an edge on the competition. Now, Dracula might be gone, but this industry is growing again, and I can assure you that there'll be plenty of other blood-sucking parasites coming to CSGO to set up dodgy gambling sites that break the rules to make it
Is there
quick
any
buck.
new
And
dodgy gambling
this
sites right now
matters
for
to the
CS:GO?
game, because some of these guys probably will get caught again, and if they do,
Is Prime Tickle and the
Valve
resub Trev.
might be forced to remove the ability to trade CSGO skins once and for all.
Very
the
many?
trading feature
Give me the
is what
biggest
these
one right
gambling
now.
sites
What's it
use.
called?
Remove it, they can't operate. But this feature is also integral to CSGO's monetization strategy because
Hellcase.
it gives skins
Okay.
value, and that's the driving force behind why people open cases, which is the reason CSGO is profitable and the reason why Valve is actively maintaining the game. CSGO will be crippled if Valve has to remove this feature. Now,
They would
gambling
never.
sites
They would
are not
literally
going
never
away.
remove it.
They're not going away unless that trading feature goes away. No matter how much a lot of people wish they would, they're staying here. So we're stuck in a bind. The gambling sites aren't going anywhere unless the trading functionality goes, but the gambling sites could also kill that trading functionality. And the banality of don't gamble isn't
Who's using
going to
Fallen?
solve shit here. We need regulation. We need the big players in the market be regulated gambling sites. And that comes back to consumers and influencers, because the Draculas are going to come
Prime
back to
Dirk.
CSGO. I guarantee you, they're going to come back, they're going to set up their dodgy sites. But if people refuse to use them, and influencers refuse to promote them, these guys won't stick around. Now, it can be hard to know if a site is fake, even for influencers. You can be advertising a site, they can be rigging it on the back end, and you can have no idea about that. They can hide it from you. But I think as a community, we've got a right to demand standards when
House
it
of
comes from
Gord?
gambling sites.
Never heard of
We
it.
need to demand that they show their license, we need to demand they show they're following regulations, and we need to demand that they show their site is provably fair. Because it really, really matters to the future of this game. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Jesus. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Yeah, so I still think even after all that, CSGO Lotto was the bigger scam. How did that just happen? Oh, I forgot that I googled CSGO Wild in order to find that video. And then immediately Hellcase comes up.
Hey,
Wow, that's kind of nutty. So this is the one people were saying is a scam? This one? Yeah, let me see if there's any videos on it. Let's see. I went all in on these expensive cases. Okay. It's nothing but promotion. These videos aren't super popular, all things considered. At least not compared to the old days. Their official channel is struggling to get even 1,000 views on the video. Is Hellcase not very big? Yeah, it's for the biggest right now. Yeah, but this does not seem to be the biggest at all. Their official channel doesn't even have 1,000 views on this one.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another.
Well, here, well, that's not gambling related. Let's see. No censorship giveaway. Well, it just took me right back to 2014. Thanks to resub Carjo, Kirix, and Genozi, and the Prime Gingy, and Moon, and the resub Cookie. Whenever I see those thumbnails, my mind immediately thinks scams. Is it just kids who get caught by these scams, or how do they have the money? Yeah, usually when I see shit like this, I also think scam. But you have to keep in mind, not everyone's been on the internet as long as you have. So a lot of people might see this and think that it's like legitimate because of these very high effort thumbnails. And I don't think it's just kids, but at all. Thanks for resub Blaze and the Prime Sonic. CSGO isn't dead. CSGO is far from dead. I was just curious on the whole gambling economy. Because I feel like the gambling economy has to be close to dead. Like, how many times can you guys get fucking blasted? How many times will you fall for scams? You had CSGO Lotto, CSGO Wild, and what was the other one? CSGO Shuffle? Why do you keep letting it happen? Just stop doing it. Yeah, that's the CSGO Lotto one from T Martin and Syndicate. Have you seen Postal the movie? No. Unless you're talking about the Uwe Boll movie, which was basically Postal. I think it was called Rampage. Not dead at all. CSGO Roll has tens, maybe hundreds of people with more than 4 million wagered. Sure, let's check it out. CSGO Roll. Still, same thing here. I guess maybe people just don't like to watch CSGO gambling anymore. Maybe that's it. Easy tier 1 Sharky. And another 5 gift subs. Thank you, Russman. CSGO roll is not a scam at all. That's good, though I think they've probably said the same about CSGO Lotto, CSGO Shuffle, and CSGO Wild. But if this one's legitimate, then that's good. The big thing now is... What? No, it seems like the gambling economy is still strong here. There's your sub symbol. The world's tallest water slide decapitation. We already watched the whole video on that. That was a fucking disaster.